Once upon a time, in a small village in Nigeria, there lived a young man named Chinedu. Chinedu was known for his kindness and respect towards everyone. One day, he met a beautiful girl named Amaka and quickly fell in love with her. Chinedu invited Amaka to his village to meet his family. When Amaka arrived, she saw an elderly woman sitting outside the house. Mistaking her for a maid, Amaka said, "Are you deaf or something? I said you should take my bags inside. What is wrong with you?" The elderly woman looked at Amaka with confusion but did not respond. Frustrated, Amaka continued, "What's the meaning of this rubbish? What's going on here? Are you deaf? Take my bags inside and you're just standing and looking at me. What's going on? So how are you? What? Can you imagine? A common maid asking me how I am. You know what? Enough of all this." Just then, Chinedu came out of the house. Babe, what's happening? Is everything all right?" he asked. Amaka replied, "Nothing is okay. Nothing. I got here and I asked your useless maid to take my bags inside. She has just been standing here looking at me." Chinedu, looking shocked, said, "Sorry. Did you say maid?" "Babe, this is my mother," Amaka gasped. "What? Oh my God. I'm very sorry. Why didn't you tell me?" "You should have told me," Chinedu explained. "She's deaf. She can't hear you." Amaka, relieved, said, "Wow. I'm so glad she's deaf. So she didn't hear all the bad things I said to her. What a relief. This is a big advantage for me. I will maximize it to the fullest. I think I can use that." Deaf mother-in-law, Chinedu, looking disappointed, said, "This is very bad. What happened to her was an accident. It happened a long time ago." Amaka, still pretending, said, "Oh my God. This is bad. I'm sorry, Ma, okay. I will enjoy this. This is a big opportunity. She won't hear all the things I'll be doing. Nice. I'm very sorry, Ma. I promise I'm going to take care of you, okay?" Chinedu, feeling uneasy, said, "I think we should go inside now. Sorry. I'll see you later, Ma. Have a nice day." Later, Chinedu overheard Amaka talking on the phone with her friend. She said, "You can't believe I'm here taking care of his sick mother. I'm happy I'm not even marrying him. Just imagine what I've experienced all my life." Chinedu's mother, who was not actually deaf, had overheard the entire conversation. She approached Chinedu and said, "My son, you must know the truth. This girl is not who she seems." Chinedu confronted Amaka, "Is this true? Do you have another lover? Were you just using me for my money?" Amaka, realizing she had been caught, tried to defend herself. "Babe, please. I'm sorry. I didn't mean any of it." But Chinedu, heartbroken, said, "Just go and pack your things. And get out of my house." Now, Amaka, with no other choice, left the village in shame, realizing too late the consequences of her actions. Amaka, with tears streaming down her face, walked out of the house and down the village road. She couldn't believe how quickly everything had fallen apart. She had thought she could fool Chinedu and his family, but now she was left with nothing. As she walked, she noticed a group of children playing by the river. They were laughing and splashing water at each other, completely unaware of her troubles. For a moment, Amaka felt a pang of regret. She wished she had been more genuine and kind-hearted, like those children. Meanwhile, back at Chinedu's house, his mother, Mama Nkechi, was consoling him. "My son," she said softly, "I know your heart is broken, but it is better to find out her true nature now than later." Chinedu nodded, still trying to process everything. "Thank you, Mama. You were right all along. I just wanted to believe she was good." Mama Nkechi smiled gently. "Love can make us see only what we want to see. But now, you must be strong and move on. There is someone out there who will truly love and respect you." One evening, Chinedu was sitting under the big Iroko tree, reflecting on everything that had happened, when he noticed a young girl approaching. She was carrying a basket of fruits and had a warm smile on her face. "Hello," she greeted him. "My name is Ruth. My mother sent these fruits for you and your mother." Chinedu thanked her and invited her to sit with him. They talked for hours, sharing stories and laughing. Ruth was kind and genuine, and Chinedu felt a connection with her that he hadn't felt in a long time. As the sun began to set, Ruth stood up to leave. "It was nice talking to you, Chinedu," she said. "I hope we can talk again sometime," Chinedu smiled. "I'd like that." "Ruth, thank you for the fruits and for the company." Days turned into weeks, and Chinedu and Ruth grew closer. Ruth's kindness and sincerity slowly began to mend Chinedu's broken heart. Mom Nkechi, noticing the change in her son, was pleased. She could see that Ruth was a good influence on him. One day, as Chinedu and Ruth were walking through the village, they saw Amaka. She looked tired and disheveled, a far cry from the confident girl who had arrived months ago. She approached them hesitantly. "Chinedu, Ruth," she said quietly, "I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I know I did wrong, and I regret it every day." Chinedu looked at her with a mixture of sadness and pity. "Amaka, I hope you find your way and become a better person." "But I can't go back to how things were," Amaka nodded, tears in her eyes. "I understand. Thank you for your forgiveness." She turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. As Chinedu watched her leave, he felt a sense of closure. He turned to Ruth and took her hand. "Let's go home," he said with a smile. Chinedu and Ruth continued their walk back home, hand in hand. As they strode through the village, Chinedu felt a deep sense of peace. He realized that his journey had taught him many valuable lessons. One evening, Chinedu invited Ruth and some close friends and family to a small gathering at his home. They shared a meal, sang songs, and enjoyed each other's company. During the gathering, Chinedu decided to share his story and the lessons he had learned. "Friends," Chinedu began, "I want to tell you about a time when I was deceived by someone I thought I loved. Amaka, who I thought was kind and caring, turned out to be someone who only wanted to take advantage of me. But through this experience, I learned some important lessons." He continued, "First, I learned the importance of forgiveness. Just like it says in the Bible, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you." Ephesians 4 verse 32. Though Amaka wronged me, I chose to forgive her because holding on to anger would only hurt me more. Chinedu looked around and saw nods of understanding from his listeners. He then said, "Secondly, I learned that true love is patient and kind. The Bible tells us in 1 Corinthians 13 verses 4-7, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres." Ruth has shown me what real love looks like, and I am grateful for her. Ruth smiled warmly at Chinedu, squeezing his hand gently. Chinedu then shared his final lesson. "Lastly, I learned the value of integrity. In Proverbs 10 verse 9, it says, 'Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out.' Amaka's deceit was uncovered, but living truthfully has brought peace and security to my life." The gathering ended with a heartfelt prayer, thanking God for the lessons learned and the blessings received. Chinedu, Ruth, and their friends left feeling uplifted and inspired by the story of forgiveness, love, and integrity. As Chinedu and Ruth stood together under the starry night sky, Chinedu whispered, "Thank you for being in my life, Ruth. With you, I have learned the true meaning of love." Ruth smiled and replied, "And with you, I have found my home." Moral lessons. 1. Forgiveness. Just as God forgives us, we must learn to forgive others, letting go of anger and resentment. 2. True love. Real love is patient, kind, and selfless, as described in 1 Corinthians 13 verses 4-7. 3. Integrity. Living a life of honesty and integrity leads to security and peace, while deceit is always uncovered. 4. Trust in God's plan. God's plans for us are always for our good, even when we cannot see it immediately. Jeremiah 29 verse 11. These lessons remind us of the importance of living according to God's teachings, which lead to a fulfilling and righteous life.